Hey everybody, and welcome back.
¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday morning. Howdy, everybody. How's it going, Astro, Mr. Irked, Mayhem Hippie? Howdy, everybody. Floppy Boober, how's it going? Morning. We've got quite the amount of stuff to cover. so we'll probably get started. Folks, reminder. Starting July 5th, this show will be moving to 5 p.m. Eastern Time because of work. Alright, so as I said, there's lots to cover. And probably not enough time. We'll see how quickly we can get through everything. Oh, whoops. There we go. First up, former gubernatorial candidate Andrew Gillum indicted on wire fraud charges. Yikes. Not a good look. Not a good look. Andrew Gillum, a once rising Democratic star who nearly won the 2018 gubernatorial race, was indicted on Wednesday, along with a close political ally, on charges of conspiracy, wire fraud, and making false statements. Yikes. Not a good look. Gillum pleaded not guilty during a brief appearance at the United States Courthouse in Tallahassee. A trial date was set for August 16. A 26-page grand jury indictment unsealed on Wednesday alleges Gillum and a longtime associate, Janet Letman Hicks, engaged in years-long scheme to turn political donations and grant funds into personal income. Yeah. Not good. Mayhem Hippie, starting off the morning with a gifted tier 1 sub to Braided Dragon. Nice. Yeah. Eric, it is, it's not a good look. Not a good look at all. Not a good look at all. According to a Department of Justice news release, the two obtained funds through false and fraudulent promises and representations that the fund would be used for a legitimate purpose. So, basically, corruption, but that crossed the line, I guess. Yikes. Gillum is also accused of lying to the FBI during an investigation into corruption inside Tallahassee City Hall, where Gillum served as mayor, and is accused of promising political favors to those who financially supported him. Jesus Christ. Yikes. Gillum, 42, and Letman Hicks, 53, faced 21 charges. Holy yikes. Making a false statement carries a prison sentence of up to 5 years, while the maximum prison term for wire fraud and conspiracy charges are each 20 years. Oh man, that's... Yikes. I've spent the last 20 years of my life in public service and continue to fight for the people. Every campaign I've run was done with integrity. Make no mistake that this case is not legal, it is political. Okay. Throughout my career, I've always stood up for the people of Florida and I've spoken truth to power. Well, we'll see. Gillum is a former CNN political commentator. What? Why did that need to be said? Okay. Kind of a weird... shoehorn statement. Yeah, he took it too far. Campaign contributions are a big fat do not touch unless you're using it to run a campaign. Yeah, because if you're caught with that, that's supposed to be, as it should, a big no-no. That's a huge no-no. In a system that's functioning, it should be like this, right? The indictment is the latest downturn into the descent of someone who was once one of the Democratic Party's fast-rising politicians. Gillum rose to national prominence in 2018 as the first black nominee in for governor in Florida history, but spiraled after losing to Republican Don DeSantis that November by less than 33,000 votes. Wow. Right. We're just going based off whatever the indictment says, or I should say, the indictment alleges. His star crashed in March of 2020, when police responding to a possible overdose call said they found Gillum in a Miami hotel with a baggie of crystal meth and collapsed companion. Gillum entered rehab. Gillum later entered rehab. DeSantis spokeswoman Christina Pushaw wrote on Twitter on Tuesday, 30,000 votes in a state of more than 21 million. DeSantis won by 0.4%. That's what saved Florida. Your vote. That's what saved Florida. That's what saved Florida. Oh, no. Oh, man. Hey. Oh, well, there it is. Your vote matters. The allegations in the indictment span Gillum's rise as a Tallahassee mayor throughout his campaign for governor and his political work after his defeat. According to the indictment, starting in 2016, Gillum and Letman Hicks repeatedly used entities one or the other controlled to solicit donations that would later go towards personal use. Yikes. On several occasions, money donated to those entities found its way to media consulting company owned by Letman Hicks, which she then fraudulently provided to Gillum for his personal use disguised as payroll payments. One example, Gillum and Letman Hicks allegedly steered a $250,000 campaign contribution into a separate 501c4 organization managed by an acquaintance who Gillum and Letman Hicks could control. They then attempted to conceal the fraud, including by filing fraudulent paperwork. It's like a Greek tragedy. Andrew Gillum has single-handedly destroyed the Democratic Party in Florida for the foreseeable future, and that's his legacy. Jesus Christ. I don't know if it's like that, but it's not a good look. That being said, it should destroy his political career. If convicted, it should destroy his political career, but I don't know if it's actually going to destroy the Democratic Party in Florida. I think they're more than capable of doing it themselves. The only other addition I would add is, can you imagine if this was the Republican nominee? Can you imagine if this was the Republican nominee? He would be front and center. He'd be the next star. He would be their next star. Letman Hicks is listed as the CEO of National Black Justice Coalition, an LGBTQ advocacy group, and as a candidate for state representative. She has been described as a mentor to Gillum, and the two have worked closely together since Gillum's first campaign for Tallahassee City Commissioner 2 decades ago. Oh boy. In 2019, Gillum started a new business, CJD Group, LLC. Letman Hicks was listed on the company's registration documents filed with the state. God, this is so frustrating. In a 2019 leaked federal grand jury subpoena first suggested investigators reviewing the ties between Gillum and Letman Hicks. The subpoena, first reported by Tampa Bay Times, asked an associate to turn over documents related to Letman Hicks, Gillum, his gubernatorial campaign, and other organizations tied to both individuals. By the end of the year, a political committee that was supposed to fund Gillum's future political endeavors had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on legal expenses. Unreal. If you discover that I'm drinking, just don't trust me. Gillum has for years faced rumors that the FBI was encircling his political activity. His campaign for governor was dogged by a spiraling federal probe into Tallahassee City Hall that revealed that Gillum had accepted Broadway tickets to the musical Hamilton and other perks from an undercover FBI agent posing as a developer. The investigation led to the conviction of a Tallahassee commissioner and 2 businessmen, but Gillum never faced charges. He ultimately settled a state ethics investigation by paying a $5,000 fine. Even amid his legal troubles, Gillum had maintained his newfound national standing after his defeat. CNN hired him as a political commentator, and Harvard University plucked him to be a guest lecturer. He became a sounding board for 2020 Democratic presidential hopefuls who were eager to earn the endorsement of the young black leader. After his 2020 run-in with the police in South Florida, Gillum disappeared for a time. He announced that he would enter rehab, saying in a statement, "I will step down from all public-facing roles for the foreseeable future." But his exit from the spotlight was brief. In a revealing interview later in 2020 with television host Tamron Hall, Gillum shared his substance abuse troubles after losing to DeSantis. He also said he identifies as bisexual. Lately, Gillum hosted a podcast in which he interviewed prominent progressives and black thought leaders. He recently posted a discussion with LaFonza Butler, president for the abortion rights group Emily's List. Well... The tickets would qualify as a thing of value. Definitely not good there either. Yeah, no, this whole thing is not good. Very bad. Very bad. Using campaign funds to funnel, essentially launder, campaign funds to yourself is a massive no-no. It's a massive no-no. And not only that, like, great. Congratulations. You gave so much ammunition to the Republican Party so that next election, whoever the Florida gubernatorial candidate is like guaranteed to be effed. Guaranteed. No matter what. because I could see it. I could see it now. Like, this is the face of the Florida Democratic Party. Is that really what you want to elect? Yeah, it's hurting the cause in a big way, right? Like, you're supposed to be, like, he presented himself as a more or less friend of progressive causes, right? That was his, like, appeal, and why he was this close to winning, right? It was the platform, because it turns out that the majority of people, that a lot of people actually would be in favor of a more progressive platform. That's why he was so close in Florida, no less. In Florida, he was so close, 0.4%. Just over 30K votes. And now, well, nice meme. If convicted, this person should never be involved in politics, period. Because now, if it happens to be that a progressive candidate manages to win a nomination, or at least has the platform that is more progressive, they're just gonna smear them. I know it's a dirty tactic, but it works. It works, right? Yeah, the 15 minimum wage, suffrage for felons. There's definitely a lot of work with Florida as far as progressive politics go. Yeah, like the whole like attempt to get felons the right to vote again, like, you know, like citizens, was huge. The fact that like Florida raised its minimum wage was huge, because it shows that even in the most like ruby red areas, there are elements of progressive policies that work, that people want, because they're not tied to the Democratic Party. Those things that you're talking about, Irked, was what they were ballot initiatives. They weren't like you know, part of like the campaign of the Democratic nominee. Right? So it just goes to it just strengthens the idea that for the most part, progressive like policies, like making sure that people have a thriving wage, making sure that people have a right to vote, things like that, are actually, yeah, pretty decently popular. Well, now look at the GOP and their push to make everything a felony. If liberals can't vote, the better for them. Yes, that's true. If women can't vote, better for the GOP. True. True. Wait till next week, Mayhem Hippie. Watch. Roe versus Wade announcement? Yeah, that's coming soon, Mayhem Hippie. That's gonna come soon. That might be in a couple of weeks or earlier. Exactly what I was getting at. The results of ballot initiatives are evidence of some progressive leanings of voters. Right, of voters. Exactly. Exactly, because if you give people the choices like on a paper that doesn't have an R or a D next to it, it turns out people are a little more progressive than you would like to think. Than they themselves would like to think, even conservatives. People. When is Texas gonna secede? I don't know. I want to short their new currency. I already said they, obviously taking aside the fact that they legally cannot, it's like not a thing, but entertaining the hypothetical. Entertaining the hypothetical for a second. Sell high, buy low, exactly. Buy the dip right now. Get ready to invest in short. Get ready to invest in whatever currency Texas is going to come up with. Anyways, to entertain the hypothetical for just like a second, if Texas were to secede, like, good luck. Good luck with the next hurricane. Good luck with your grid systems that work so well during the winter and summer. What are you gonna do for trade? What's gonna happen when all those federal dollars get rescinded? I would love to see that play out, but that's just I would love to see that play out, but it's, I mean, please go. Biden should kick them out of the union ahead of their vote. No, I would rather really not get too involved in that, because like I think that the outcomes would be worse. I love my family, but God, they're dumb. It's a huge amount. It has a huge amount of support in Texas. I mean, like, listen. If there is a referendum to secede, obviously it's not like a constitutional thing. It's not a legal thing, I should say. But if they want to, like, if they really want to secede, and they want to know, and they want to know what it's like to be just themselves. Hey, listen, at this point in time, I used to be like incredibly staunchly against the idea, simply because I'm for better outcomes, to be quite honest. And despite Texas being Texas, kicking off like a crisis is not in anyone's interest, broadly speaking. So I'm generally, I used to be very, very, very staunchly against that idea, but now, truly, and in fact, I would argue that if they're so adamant about it, why don't they make Trump the leader of Texas? If they're so adamant about it, why don't they make Trump the leader of Texas? See how that goes. No federal aid, none whatsoever. Good luck. Hopefully you can establish trade relations. Hopefully you can establish trade relations with neighboring states if they want. And see if that's allowed, because I think the federal government controls like trade, I think. So good luck. Good luck with the next natural disaster, which is obviously, it's not an if, it's a when. Sup, bro? How are you? You know how long Texas have talked about seceding from the U.S. has been planned for quite some time. They have some sort of idea to secede. Yeah, but it's not like they can't. Let's bring ourselves back to the real world. They legally cannot. If the southern states seceded, we all know there would be huge movements to help people flee to the north and the west. Yeah. Alio, how's it going? Trump is the leader of the red states. He's the leader of the Republican Party. He is the Republican Party. Yeah. Anyways, the TLDR is, hey, I wonder, like, if they really didn't think this one through. I wonder if they really did think this through, because, like, man, that's gonna really suck. When the next Katrina, Harvey, the next winter that takes out power, for a lot of people. I wonder how they're going to deal with that. But my point is, like, just to entertain that hypothetical, it's not a good idea. Just in the interest of, like, the people in Texas and just in general. Texas had to think about it at some sort of level, or they wouldn't have talked about it for decades. Yeah, it's all talk, Spaniard. It's all bark, okay? They can't. They can't, and they really haven't thought the consequences through, in my opinion. I don't... red states or blue states tax dollar comparison. I don't like the red state versus blue state tax dollar comparison. Those are all viewed as citizens getting into makers versus takers. It's a disgusting thing. I prefer we not participate in it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just how I feel about it. There's a point to that. The only people who would benefit by secession are opportunists like Trump. Talking to my family, they support Texas leaving the Union. They couldn't last time, but they did anyways. What? Okay. The U.S. needs to move on from talking about Trump and Biden bashing. Well, it depends on what Biden bashing means. Like, do you mean, like, criticizing him? No one's above criticism. No one is above criticism. No, he's the current president. Of course we're gonna criticize him when he does bad things. What? Until Trump decides to just leave and fuck off for the until Trump decides to, like, finally fuck off for good. Unfortunately, he's still a great influence around the Republican Party. He is the Republican Party. So as long as they keep as long as they keep going, we gotta kind of not ignore that, right? We should talk about laws, courts, and Congress. All of that is all tied in together. All of it. All of it is all neatly packaged in one circular, nice little area. Why not entertain the idea? How much better off would the country be? The red state policies are truly hurting people and their lives and holding back this country. I agree. I agree, but I think it would kick off a crisis much, much bigger than we would like to think, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it would be good. But, like, I don't know. I just think that we'd be more effed for it, like, down the line. I don't know. I really don't. Maybe you're right, Mayhem Hippie. Maybe you're right. Kevin, how's it going? Yeah, Trump loves it. Trump loves positive attention. Trump loves positive attention. I don't agree. Red policies are the only issues hurting people. Both Republicans and Democrats have been hurting this country for a long time. So I guess the rephrasing should be, conservative policies, generally speaking, in a broad sense, produce more negative outcomes. Is that more fair? So either way we go to war, that's kind of what it feels like. Either I'm fighting for my rights in this country or fighting people that are choosing to leave this country willingly. That is what feels like my choices are here. I would say, to entertain that, I would say it's an ideal situation would be that we continue to fight for rights than having to, like, fight other people. like in a what would be effectively effectively like a civil war, which I really want to discourage that rhetoric, you know? Because that's the last thing I want. I love attention and presidential protection. I have to keep my job. I heard a great critique from our political institution. Representative democracy made great sense 500 years ago when no one was educated and a horse was the main travel mechanism. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I heard a great critique of our political institutions. Representative democracy made great sense 500 years ago when no one was educated and horse was the main travel mechanism. So what you're saying now is that we should move to a more, not 100%, but like a more direct democratic system. I mean, there's an argument for that, sure. I get wanting to discourage it, but I'm literally fighting to keep control of my body, and I'm helping others fight for the right to make choices in their lives and bodies. Yeah, I'd rather do that. I'd rather do that. I'm helping others fight for their right to make choices for their own lives and bodies. I'm already fighting. Yeah, exactly. That's yeah, I'm 100% on board with that. Along with other communities like the LGBTQIA and POC communities. Yeah, 100%. Like if you're talking about like rights for bodily autonomy, and just like human rights in general, yeah, that we should continue. I'd settle for ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting is probably more feasible within the systems that we have here. It would be a more fair system. Give every person a crypto bioidentity and let everyone vote on everything. Who makes the crypto bioidentity systems? Who creates those systems and who gets to choose, who gets to, you know. But we're losing. Look at the Supreme Court. We're losing because of red state policies and corruption of the government. I don't think they mean crypto like cryptocurrency. I think they mean crypto like encrypted, like blockchain. And like blockchain technology. Not like literal cryptocurrency. Yeah, I agree, Mayhem Hippie. It's not looking good. That doesn't mean like we that doesn't mean we just like throw our hands up, right? We just keep going. We fund and put resources, whether it be time, whether it be money if you have, whether it be the sharing of information, whatever it is that you can to continue doing what you're doing, Mayhem Hippie. That's exactly the move. And I'll repeat the same thing that I've said. The actions of the Supreme Court curtailing rights, like not only just reproductive rights, but actual constitutional rights, like the ability to have accountability for federal agents that violate your Fourth Amendment. That's gone. And that's all being stripped out little by little. And that is because Republicans won elections. That's why. That's the only reason that happened. That is a direct line. What happened a couple of days ago? The Supreme Court decided that tax dollars are going to fund religious private schools. That is a direct result of Republicans winning elections. That's who's to blame. We need to stop voting for Republicans and Democrats. There has to be a better choice in voting people into office just because you think that there's only evil versus good. It's always like that, though. That's the thing. It's always going to be like that. I don't find it to be true, even if we can get a third or fourth party in there that will benefit all Americans. Really, let me know when we have a viable way of expanding our options. Let me know when you have a viable way of doing so. SCOTUS can't be voted out? No, my point is that it is a direct line, because how did the SCOTUS get to a 6-3 supermajority? How did the SCOTUS get to a 6-3 conservative supermajority? Because Republicans won elections. Well, let me rephrase that. George Bush was installed, but I guess whatever. He was installed by the Supreme Court, or allowed to be installed, and he got the choice of cementing a conservative majority, and then Donald Trump, a Republican, cemented that 6-3 supermajority. So, that is a direct line from Republicans winning elections to where we're at. Because McConnell and Trump and the Senate, yeah, who were all controlled, who were Republican controlled. Exactly. That is a direct line from Republicans winning elections. You're not listening, Spaniard. The Republican, the reason why the Supreme Court is at a 6-3 supermajority is because Republicans won. That's it. All presidents get that choice. Do they, though? Do they? I remember a certain Supreme Court justice that was supposed to be at least considered, and was blocked because of Republicans. So no. And furthermore, look at every president, they get the choice to choose their chief justice. That's not true. Not every presidential election has a Supreme Court nomination. That's not true. That's just not true. What? Every president, they get to choose the chief justice. No, they don't. What? That's not how this works, my friend. The only other measure is term limits, and SCOTUS and Congress and President has term limits. Yeah, lifetime appointments for Supreme Court justices, and it's just asinine. I agree. Or at least have a system where they rotate, where it would be the case that at least every administrator, every administration would get to choose at least a justice or whatnot, so that the court continues to be more fluid, I should say. Yeah, so, no. Every administration doesn't get to choose a justice. That's not how this works. I was gonna say that also. No, you only get a Supreme Court justice when they step down or pass away. That's the only two ways you get it. Not every administration gets to choose a Supreme Court justice. This is why civics is so important. Holy shit. This is why civics is so important. Folks, every administration that comes in does not get to choose a justice. Okay? Every administration that comes in does not get to choose a justice. Let's get back to how corrupt and drugged out Gilliam is. Well, the core story of this is the corruption charge, right? That's the story here. The corruption. And then look at what happened to Obama when the Republicans blocked his nomination and now we got 2 from Trump. Correct. What I'm trying to say, and what my argument is completely sound, is that the direct results of Republicans winning elections are a cemented supermajority on the Supreme Court, which has directly led to the decisions that we're seeing now. Like, am I like not making sense? Like, just to be clear, you all follow what I'm saying, right? It was because Republicans won the presidential election, and because Republicans won elections, because it requires a Senate confirmation, that is a direct line to cementing that supermajority of 6-3, which then has given us the rulings that we have now, all the way from the curtailing of our Fourth Amendment rights to bodily autonomy. You're making all the sense. Okay, cool. I'm glad that we're making a little bit of sense here. Okay. And the rulings that you'll get for years to come. Yeah. Exactly. That's the issue. You're making all the sense. Okay, good. I'm glad that like it's pretty clear cut. I'm trying to make my argument as clear cut as possible. Okay. So TLDR, not good. Corruption, bad. Lake Mead nears dead pool status as water levels hit another historic low. Lake Mead's water levels this week dropped to historic lows, bringing the nation's largest reservoir less than 150 feet away from a dead pool when the reservoir is so low that water cannot flow downstream from the dam. Lake Mead's water level on Wednesday was measured at 1,044.03 feet, its lowest elevation since the lake was filled in the 1930s. If the reservoir dips below 895 feet, a possibility still years away, Lake Mead could reach dead pool, carrying enormous consequences for millions of people across Arizona, California, Nevada, and parts of Mexico. This is deadly serious stuff, said Robert Glennon, an emeritus professor at the University of Arizona who specializes in water law and policy. Persistent drought conditions over the past 2 decades have exacerbated by climate change has increased water demands across the southwest U.S. and have contributed to Lake Mead's depletion. Though the reservoir is at risk of becoming a dead pool, it would most likely take several more years to reach that level. Several more years. That's not a good thing. That's not good. That's going to affect water for tens of millions of people. This is also going to decrease the ability of hydropower from the Hoover Dam to be done as well, which is going to exacerbate all of these issues. It's just going to compound the problems coming down the road in the next few years. In the meantime, the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation and water managers across the southwest U.S. are making efforts to manage the flow of water into the Colorado River and regulate water use among the states in the region. These measures are designed to help replenish Lake Mead, which was created on the Colorado River on the Arizona-Nevada border when the Hoover Dam was built in the early 1930s, and other severely depleted reservoir, Lake Powell, which was created along the border of Utah and Arizona. Dead pool would not mean that there's no water left in a reservoir. Even before Lake Mead were to hit that point, there are concerns that water levels could fall so low, that the production of hydroelectric power could be hindered. Electricity generation in our western reservoirs has become a problem as the water and the level in the reservoirs go down. Yeah. Ooh, man, Chewy. Lee Spanner, how's it going? Base of PJ. It's going to affect tourism, food, water, electricity for millions. And mostly due to climate change, nothing is being done at the federal level to address it. True. And the snowpacks in the mountains have melted away and won't get replaced. Yeah, which is another issue in and of itself. Yeah. Alright, hold on, folks. Okay. As the reservoir is depleted, there's less water flowing through the turbines and less liquid pressure to make them spin, which means the turbines produce less electricity. Yeah. So there's so much compounded issues here. In April, Lake Mead's declining water level exposed an intake valve that first began to supply Nevada's customers in 1971. The following month, 2 sets of human remains were discovered as a result of the reservoir's receding shoreline. Jesus. Gunn said that the situation in Lake Mead is forcing local officials to take dramatic steps to replenish the reservoir, particularly as climate change is expected to worsen drought conditions in the West and will continue to affect how much water flows into the Colorado River. It is the 23rd year of drought, and we don't know if it's And we don't know if it's a 23-year drought, a 50-year drought, or maybe a 100-year drought. We just don't know when this is going to turn around. Yeah, this is what it looks like, by the way. In case we needed, like, perspective as to how, bad it is. That's a sunken boat. Or was. Folks, if you haven't already, just as a quick 5-second chill, don't forget to hit the follow button. Alright? Renardus, how's it going? The drought has also made a huge problem of Mormon crickets in North Nevada. It's disgusting, and they totally destroy every crop and soil. They get squished on the road and cause accidents from being so slick. Yikes. It's really bad. I've spent time on and around Lake Mead. Yikes. The USA is going to be thirsty. Yeah. Tens of millions of people, as this progresses, is just going to be without water. Or we're going to have to find alternative ways of getting water, which will exacerbate issues in other ways. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but I believe, and this is probably, I think it's a fair assessment, in my opinion, that we really need water. I'm just saying that I think that water is an important aspect of living. This is just my personal assessment of things. I think that water is very important to living. So if you like living, I do. Maybe we should address this problem. They could have learned from the past, Saltine Beach. Oof. Water's nice. Yeah. Just saying. This is just my perspective, my layman's view of the situation is that it turns out that we do need water to live. So we kind of probably should address that if we want to continue to live. These are just my 2 cents, right? I'm just spitballing over here. Jesus. Water rules. Have you considered getting a Hello Tushy bidet? Chai bureaucrat, top of the morning to you. Maybe we should abolish golf courses in the southern Arizona, the little desert due to the amount of water they use. True. Jeez. Absolutely. The fact that that's even a thing is amazing to me. Winter Veggie, how's it going? True. Why is it like, I don't know, a more sustainable, habitable planet? Or golf? The ability to have water? Or golf? I don't know. First off, if I play a golf in the desert, I want to play in a desert. I want to play a desert court just like Mario Golf. Then play Mario Golf. Why would you want to be out in the desert in the first place? I'll never understand the appeal of golf. I don't know. My apartment complex waters on daily with sprinklers out here in Phoenix. I can't imagine why it isn't using turf instead. Jesus Christ. I understand that the California almond uses a lot of water. I think so. That's true. Why not create sustainable yard in a sustainable yard environment that is supporting the local climate and ecology? Yes. Kill the American yard. True. Golf as a hangout / sport thing with friends is cool, but yeah, very destructive to local areas. Yeah. That feels like an unnecessary expensive way to get drunk with the boys. True. Just if you're so inclined, play Mario Golf, okay? It'll be fine. Just put on Mario Golf and pass around some rum and cokes and you'll be fine. Now you'll see me out there in Death Valley playing nothing but sand traps. Oh no. No, Base of PJ, no. Break out the Nintendo Wii. Everyone will have a good time. True. Just don't send in the controller through the TV. You'll be fine. Benjamin P. Dixon Show, rating with a party of 21. Welcome, everybody. Samaline the Kind Dragon, how's it going? Welcome in, everybody. If you don't know who we are A Difficult Truth. We do the news. We do the politics, Monday through Thursday. Join us for Saturday Catterdays. About noon Eastern Time. Welcome, everybody. Don't forget, if you haven't already, Jamtoom, how's it going? Smack that follow button, alright? It really does help us out, and you get 5 free emotes. Come on. And if you haven't already, please check out the Benjamin P. Dixon Show. Please check out Jamtoom. Please check out Base of PJ. We've got so many wonderful folks. It's hard to keep track of y'all. Please check out twitch.tv/AlioShare. Anyone who has a little diamond next to them. If you don't follow ADT, you might be living your life wrong. I agree. I couldn't agree more. So this is just casually the situation at Lake Mead. Where we have a formerly sunk boat just casually completely exposed. And about 100 and something feet away from it being a completely dead pool, which means that electricity generation, the ability for tens of millions of people to get water, is in jeopardy. It's not good. It's not good. And this is now, folks. This is just now in 2022. How's it going to look in like 5 years, 10 years? How's it going to look within our lifetime? Not good. The situation is not good. Vacate Las Vegas. The situation being exacerbated by climate change is dire. There's no other way to say it. It's bad. Yeah, it can only get worse in terms of like, should we continue and should we not? Should we continue to just go business as usual? Yeah, to a degree. We've already locked in pretty bad stuff. The ideal situation... Okay, so, like, think of it as, like, you know, the whole domino... the whole domino... Like, once the domino gets... Once the first domino falls, they all start to fall, right? Like, you've all seen, like, videos of that, right? The best hope that we have is that we can implement policies now to make sure that we stopped that domino effect from falling any further. But unfortunately, those dominoes that have already began falling have fallen and have locked in and have made it so that things like this are normal now. SLC is so bad, and if it dries up, the air will literally be poisonous. Yep, that's right. Something to do because of the dust or something like that. I forget. I think we went over it. Jamtoom. I think we went over it. It's something to do with like the fact that the dust in the air is going to be more because the moisture isn't keeping that down. It's going to be more up in the air. That's going to be a good meme too. So if you like living, if you like the small things in life, like, you know, air, water, the ability to grow food, maybe we should probably sort of, kind of, hopefully, perhaps, begin to address this problem. Did the audio change for anybody else? Sound check. Can everybody hear me okay? Not for me? Okay. The arsenic at the bottom of the stick. If it dries, the arsenic goes up in the wind, in the air. Okay. Gotcha. Oh, the little things. Yeah, you know. The luxuries of life. Loud and clear? Okay, cool. The luxuries in life, like, you know, air, water, food. Yeah. Just the little things. Alright, we're gonna try to get through some of these headlines, and we're gonna try to get through this video. Honestly, shout out to Darknet for posting this. I think this guy might be one of my new favorite, content creators for climate change. So, just to give you the TLDR, this guy is a member, along with his brother, of a metal band that literally makes like music about climate change, and is now making response videos. Basically, like debunking like media articles and videos. Which I find amazing. Not only do we get death metal, or metal, heavy metal, but we also get education. Nice. It's like a 2-for-1 special. True, food is overrated. Transcend food to breatharianism. Yes. So, we'll do our best to try to get to this, but this is amazing. I highly recommend you guys check this out. Climate change bad, we should stop it. Got it. Yeah. 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 If you want the most simplistic TLDR, yeah, we should probably do our best to pump the brakes. We should probably do our best to pump the brakes on this. Yeah. I mean, if you, like I said, if you like the, you know, the little things in life, like, you know, air and water and food. Yeah. Get on my level. I don't eat food. I photosynthesize. Jeez. I need to learn how to do that. You need to teach us. We should probably turn Food Man into jerky. No! Rather than baste him? Oh, man. Oh, I see, Winter Veggie. Yeah. I've got some wireless doohickeys that are knockoffs because, you know. For me anyways. Skull candy is actually not bad. Skull candy is not bad. I had skull candies before. If I get turned into jerky, then I no longer have to live in this capitalist hellscape. Checkmate. Libs, dang it. Listen, we cannot give Fu Manchu the luxury, okay? If we all have to stay here, so does he. I wrongly thought you were talking about my little favorite things like cats and trees. I mean, if you like those too, you would, if you like those too, then, yeah, climate change should absolutely concern you. Yeah, if you like those things too, if you like, you know, cats, trees, animals. I'm just saying. Speaking of which, I owe Aliochair a cute animal video, so we're gonna do this article, then cute animal video, then we'll try to rush on by. SCOTUS making dumps as we speak. Gotcha. I'm not looking forward to that, to be honest. Oh, I think we just got one. I want to limit the age of public servants. I want, I want woke-ass Gen Z running my shit. I'm not into eating the same species. What, no Soylent Green? Hey, here's a good meme. Check this out. Don't ever let conservatives tell you that they give a shit about the Constitution or rights. Remind me again why snakes and spiders are necessary. All these folks are necessary for a working ecosystem. Oh, you don't have to see them, Sameline. You don't have to see them. But snakes, depending on which type of snake, keep rodents in check and keep other small animals in check. And snakes sometimes keep other snakes in check. Spiders keep bugs in check that otherwise would get too expansive. And spiders also check other spiders. Believe it or not, like an example would be like the wolf spider. The wolf spider may seem scary and can mess you up if you get bit, but they are experts at catching black widows. And what was the other spider that was really dangerous? Black widows and something else. Yeah, wolf spiders or fiddlebacks are experts at that. Cops and judges have immunity. Yep. The brown recluse. Thank you, Eric. Wow. Chat just boom. Yep, thank you. Easy peasy. What's going on here? Hello? Is the website not working? Oh, come on. Well, we got the SCOTUS blog Twitter, so that works. Sorry, Alio. The rule is if you're in my house, if you're outside, I'll leave you alone. If you're in my house and trespassing, I no longer sit there. Yeah, just shoo them outside. That's what I do. I literally just grab them with a little scooper and just toss them outside, you know? We have all 3 of those spiders up here. Yeah, we have those here too. It worked a second ago. Yeah, I don't know if it's my internet. My internet's being kind of weird. I'm being kind of suspect. I was forced to drop the upload speed down to 2,000 kilobytes per second because something's not right. I hope that you guys can see okay, that the stream is pretty smooth because my internet seems to be a little bit weird. Correct, Fu-Man. They actually only care about creating in-groups that the law protects but does not bind, and ever-expanding out-group of boogeymen that the law binds but does not protect. Yep. So check this out, folks. If a police officer fails to give you your Miranda warnings, or Miranda rights, they're not warnings, it's the Miranda right, and the government uses the suspect's un-Mirandaized statements against them in court, can the suspect then sue the officer for violating Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination in a 6-3 decision? Again, a direct result from Republicans winning elections. The SCOTUS says, nah, get fucked. Fifth Amendment rights? What are those? Fifth Amendment rights? Psh. Ha! Miranda rights, the Fifth Amendment, which is constitutional. What is that? Just keeps getting better and better, folks. So more people should utilize their right to remain silent preemptively. Absolutely. Yeah, like just as a baseline, now, especially now that the Supreme Court decided that your Fifth Amendment rights are even more stripped, the best advice is what Ratkin just said. That's it. Just don't talk to cops, period. Don't talk to them. The only words that should be coming out of your mouth is, "Where is my lawyer?" Or, "I will not talk to anybody unless my lawyer is present." As a reformed paralegal, my personal not legal advice is keep your gaping headband shut. Yeah, like exactly. The suspect can't sue anybody, not anymore. No one ever talked a way out of handcuffs. Just verbally say you plead the Fifth, and then, yeah, STFU. Yep. Okay. A giant crane fly. Look, it's just not working today, folks. It's my internet. Oh, there we go.
Mark and Craig, Pop Brothers at Law. We've been warning people, if you are working for an unlicensed dispensary, an illegal dispensary, and it gets raided, you need to shut the fuck up. If you shut the fuck up, you have a good chance that we can make the case go away. Case in point, 3 employees of an illegal shop were busted during a raid. 2 of them said, oh, I'm just volunteering here. The third guy shut the fuck up. And the DA did not prosecute the guy who shut the fuck up. They can't prove what you were doing there. If you're a customer, patient, walked in to go to the bathroom, they don't know. You got to shut the fuck up, and it's Shut the Fuck Up Friday. So review the script. What do you say when the cop first pulls you over?
Why'd you pull me over?
And when he keeps asking questions?
Not discussing my day.
And they ask more questions?
Am I being detained or am I free to go?
And if detained, what do you say?
I invoke the 5th.
And then what do?
You
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up Friday. Never answer questions when the cops ask.
Have safe holidays.
True. By the way, some courts have ruled that just staying silent on your own, it's not enough to use a Fifth Amendment defense. You have to verbally invoke that right. Yes, that's why they said specifically, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right, and then shut the fuck up, okay? Because it's about to get wild, folks. It's about to get wild. The fact that the SCOTUS just decided to gut your Miranda rights, which are part of the Fifth Amendment rights, yeah. That's some Better Call Saul shit. That's awesome. Yeah, but it's actually, yeah, it's hella relevant, and more so now. It's more so now. Anybody tired of winning yet? Right, and if they nab you for something and they don't read your Miranda rights, now you can't sue them. You have no legal recourse. You have no legal recourse. Wait, did we win? I can't tell with all these conservative SCOTUS decisions. Yeah, we're winning bigly. Look at that. And by winning, I mean we're slowly... we're slowly watching our rights being hollowed out because conservatives won elections. The dude currently on the January 6th hearing is speaking so slow he takes a breath like every 2 seconds. The only question I have left is, will I live to see the crumbled remains of democracy? Who knows? We can take bets on that, on how long that's going to take. There's like a crane fly flying around here. I guess it really depends on. Yeah, if we work hard enough, okay, and we put on our bootstrap mentalities, we can speedrun this. Really the time frame depends on how much on conservatives winning elections. Like if they win, which the midterms are going to be a factor. If they win both the midterms, both houses, and presidential election in 2024, hey, we might have just accelerated that timeline. You have no legal recourse if they don't read your Miranda rights. That's not entirely true. The case can still have a case dropped. The ruling specifically applies to the case where cops use statements in court from the suspect. Oh, before the Miranda rights were read, it's still bad though. Okay. Hold on. We gotta pump the brakes. Okay, wait, hold on. This ruling specifically applies to cases where cops use statements in courts from the suspect before the Miranda rights were read to them. It's still bad though. Wait, but that's the point, right? Because if you use statements before your Miranda rights were read, it should be invalid. It should be invalid, right? So you have no recourse if that happens. Right, no. You still have the Miranda rights. What I'm saying is, yes, you're correct. You still have Miranda rights. What's the problem here is that if a cop uses a statement that was before that, then you can't sue them, or you can't sue the department or whatever it is that, you know, legal avenue that you would have. Or am I wrong here? What Fu Manchu said, you can't sue them, but you can have the case thrown. That's the important precedent, that the case can be dropped. Okay. Okay. So, here's the, Okay. So here's the TLDR. If you get arrested and you are, I don't know, not there's statements that are being used against you before you were read your Miranda rights, then technically the case can be dropped. Okay? But you can't sue them, but the case can be thrown. Okay. So, whew. We just gotta be very, very, very sure. It's lawyer bread and butter when they don't give Miranda. Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Okay, whew. Phew. Yes, civil cases and criminal cases have different proof and... yeah, they're different, yes. Jesus Christ. Until now, using statements against you in court from before you were read your Miranda rights was a violation of the Fifth Amendment. Now, okay, so until now, wait. Until now, using statements against you in court from before you were read your rights was a violation of the Fifth Amendment. Now, but now it still is though, right? You just can't sue them, but you can have the case thrown out, right? It looks like it limits the ability to sue the department, but it doesn't change Miranda. Not the case, but just parts of the evidence? Yeah, but I mean, like, damn. If, that leaves some gray areas, because, like, what if something did get presented that wasn't supposed to be presented, and then, like, what, you're gonna ask the jury that saw it to not see it? Right, they can strike it from the record, but, like, man. And as a jury, you're supposed to forget that. Yeah. You can still have the case dismissed by the judge, but you can't hold the piggies for, can't hold the piggies liable for their actions. Yes, you ask the jury to unsee it and make sure that it's in the appeal record. Gotcha. I would like to see the source on this. Lawyers use that same tactic in court with saying things that get objected to. This is the direct case. A violation of Miranda rules does not provide a basis for a claim. Section 1983 provides a cause of action against any person acting under color of state of law who subjects a person to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, and immunities secured by the Constitution and laws. TECO argues that the violation of Miranda constitutes a violation of the Fifth Amendment rights against compelled self-incrimination. That is wrong. In Miranda, the court concluded that additional procedural protections were necessary to prevent the violation of the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination when suspects who are in custody are interrogated by police. Miranda imposed a set of prophylactic rules requiring the custodial interrogation be preceded by now familiar warnings and disallowing the use of statements obtained in violations of these new rules by the prosecution in its case in chief. The Miranda 384 U.S. Act 479, Miranda did not hold that a violation of the rules established Miranda did not hold that a violation of the rules it established necessarily constitutes a Fifth Amendment violation. That makes sense, as an unmirandarized suspect in custody may make self-incriminating statements without a hint of compulsion. The Miranda court stated that the Constitution did not itself require adherence to the particular solution of inherent compulsions of the interrogational process, and that its decision in no way created a constitutional straitjacket. Since Miranda, the court has repeatedly described Miranda rules as prophylactic. After Miranda, the court engaged in the process of charting the dimensions of the new prophylactic rules, and in doing so weighed the benefits and costs of any clarification of prophylactic rules scope. See Miranda versus Schatzer. Some post-Miranda decisions have found that the balance of interest justified restrictions that would have not been possible if Miranda described the Fifth Amendment right as opposed to a set of rules designed to protect that right. Huh. This seems like an extension of the protections they just recently extended to Border Patrol agents. They can't be personally sued. All objections are court record points that can be used in appeal. If you fail to object or do a motion to strike, you can't bring that up in appeal. Huh. This seems like an extension of the protections they just recently extended to Border Patrol agents. Okay, so I see. I read through that ruling, and it basically walked back years of precedent and then pushed a burden onto Congress, saying it's a legislative issue, not a justice issue. For law enforcement. Okay. Miranda may be prophylactic, but it's a goddamn good condom to have. While many of court's decisions impose limits on Miranda's prophylactic rules, other decisions found that the balance of interest called for expansion. An example of Doyle versus Ohio, the court held that the silence following a Miranda warning cannot be used to impeach. The court acknowledged that Miranda warnings are prophylactic, but it found that allowing the use of post-warning silence would undermine the warning implicit promise that silence would not be used to convict. Likewise, in Withrow versus Williams, the court rejected an attempt to restrict Miranda applications in collateral proceedings based on the reasoning in Stone versus Powell. Once again, acknowledging that Miranda adopted prophylactic rules, the court balanced the competing interests and found that the cost of adopting a Stone-like rule outweighed any benefits. In sum, the court's post-Miranda cases acknowledged the prophylactic nature of Miranda rules and engaged in cost-benefit analysis to define their scope. The court's decision in Dickerson versus U.S. did not upset the firmly established prior understanding of Miranda as a prophylactic decision. Dickerson involved a federal statute that effectively overruled Miranda by making the admissibility of a statement given during custodial interrogation turn solely on whether it was made voluntarily. The court held that Congress could not abrogate Miranda by statute because Miranda was a constitutional decision that adopted a constitutional rule, and that the court noted that these rules could not have been made applicable to the states if they did not have that status. Sheesh. It seems like destroying precedent is SCOTUS's main goal right now. I missed the civics part where judges consider if law was being used as a benefit. Jesus. Ugh. I see. So, the argument is... Just to understand this correctly, for all my, like, a bit more legal knowledge, knowledgeable folks, Alio with the 10 biddies, thank you so much, I appreciate that. For the folks who are a bit more legally versed, more than I am, let me understand the argument. The argument that the Supreme Court is making is that actually, the Miranda rights or warnings or whatever are actually not really a part of the Fifth Amendment. So therefore, if a officer violates that or doesn't do it or tries to admit, whatever evidence without the evidence prior to reading those warnings, then you can't sue them because they didn't violate, technically didn't violate your Fifth Amendment. Because Miranda isn't the Fifth Amendment. Mayhem Hippie with 100 biddies. Thank you so much. This case gets so much worse. The cop in this case told the guy he couldn't leave, flashed his gun at the guy, and threatened to deport him and his entire family. What was he supposed to do? Jesus Christ. And that you're talking about the other decision, the ability to not be able to sue Border Patrol for violating your Fourth Amendment rights, I think. Their argument is based on supporting the cops. They had a conclusion and invented legal mumbo jumbo to justify it. Right, I'm just trying to make sure that what I'm saying is true. What I'm trying to say is what I'm trying to ask is if what I'm understanding from this particular decision that was just made is as follows. A, Miranda warnings are not actually part of the constitutional Fifth Amendment right. Therefore, if you try to sue an officer for not adhering to that, you can't because they didn't violate the Constitution. I'm listening today, super busy at work. Coworker sent her announced me yesterday that she is leaving. Clients are rightfully panicking. Jeez, I'm sorry, Mayhem Hippie. You do what you gotta do. I appreciate the support now as well. While Miranda rights are still operative, there is no longer any recourse if police fail to apprise you of your rights and use statements against you. Why would cops ever apprise you of your rights? Correct, because they're not your friends. Correct. Right. So that's exactly what I'm trying to get at. Because they have declared that even though the Miranda warnings are still in effect, right? They still exist. They didn't throw it out. Nor did I read that here. What I'm trying to understand. What I'm trying to understand is the argument that's being presented to us. So, just in a nutshell, is that if your Miranda warnings get violated, they're actually not part of the Fifth Amendment. So therefore, you can't sue them for violating your rights. That's what I'm trying to get at. Oh, by the way, if you guys want to dissect this, I believe Alio also asked me for the link. If you guys want to dissect this and that's the actual ruling, the syllabus of the ruling. Yeah, because actually, I'm rereading this tweet. Yeah, I'm rereading this tweet. It makes sense. If a police officer fails to give the suspect the Miranda warnings and the government uses the suspect's unmirandarized statements against them, can the suspect sue the officer for violating the Fifth Amendment? The SCOTUS says no. Why? Because they consider Miranda warnings not actually a part of your constitutional Fifth Amendment. They are more like a security measure. They're more like a security measure to ensure that you have a Fifth Amendment right, but it is not part of the Fifth Amendment. So therefore, your rights weren't violated. Okay. What a garbage argument. What a garbage argument. It's just getting easier and easier for police to, like, mess you up. Yeah, that's the goal, I think. Clearly, based on the recent decisions that the SCOTUS has issued, yeah, they're just expanding police. They're just making it so that police are more protected, less accountable. I wonder why. That's kind of strange. I'm finding it difficult that a suspect can't sue anyone. The state, the police, there are cops who are priests and lawyers also. Oh man. Authoritarianism is what comes to mind, my friend. Because if you're given less and less tools to hold the state accountable, and by the state, I mean police, because they are agents of the state, are they not? They're literally the armed agents of the state. If you're given less and less recourses to hold them accountable, I mean, the logical conclusion is that it's moving to a more and more authoritarian state. The logical conclusion is that there's a reason why, given the precedent that the SCOTUS currently is essentially gutting your ability to hold federal agents and now hold any police officer civilly, like in court. Little by little, they're like stripping your abilities to hold them accountable. It's because they want those folks to have more authority. Why? Because they're agents of the state. Why? Because they want the control. Right? That's the goal. Authoritarianism. Why else would you expand the powers of armed agents of the state? Or at least make it so hard to hold, or at least make it harder and harder, little by little, to hold them accountable. Now I get the picture. Okay, at first I mean, it's still incredibly, deeply alarming, but I understand what the situation is here, and it's not good. Mayhem Hippie with another 100 biddies. Christian nationalists want a fascist theocracy. They're working towards that by taking over the GOP and installing people at all levels who will make it happen. Right, up to and including the Supreme Court, which has slowly gutted your ability to hold police officers or armed agents of the state accountable. Surely the SCOTUS judge, who was in a literal cult for years, had no and on end with no judicial experience, would be working towards anything nefarious. Surely. Nothing to see here, folks. Again, this is a direct line from Republicans winning elections, Republicans having the ability to install these people. Yeah. This is a direct result of Republicans winning elections. I mean, yeah. So, to summarize what just happened. No, your Fifth Amendment right still stands. Your Miranda rights still stand. Your ability to hold police accountable is slowly being gutted, decision by decision, little by little. That's it. And that should worry you. Lindell admitted, if you criticize Lindell, you work for the devil. True.
It was a time in my life when I was actually homeless. I was homeless for 3 years, and I had 2 cats that were my best friends, and they got me through this homeless time.
They're Red Moses. Thank you.
Every single night, they were there with me by my side. When I first came to this apartment, a little kitty came up to me, which I eventually named Meow Meow. And Meow Meow came up to me, and she's just the cutest little cat. So I run upstairs, get a little bit of food, run back down. I'm like, okay, here you go, little kitty. The next day, I'm coming home from work, and Meow Meow comes running up. So this time, she has a little friend with her. Then the next time, they bring a couple more friends. Next night, a couple more. Next night, a couple more. Before you know it, 3 years later, I'll do a count, and I get close to 100, like 70 or 80.
Hey guys.
There's 2 million homeless cats in Hawaii.
Hi, everybody.
That's so sad.
I wish I could take care of all of them.
For the last 3 years, actually, I've been waking up every morning before sunrise so I can feed almost 100 street cats near downtown Honolulu, Hawaii.
If I'm a minute late, they'll be literally scratching at my door. So I always try to get there a few minutes early and give them fresh food and fresh water every day.
Get the water first, huh? Actually, we'll get the food first.
They think they're bringing me down, like I'm not gonna come. In 2 years, I haven't missed a day. As long as I'm alive, I'll be taking care of cats and helping them.
Based. This guy's based. Thanks to thank the stars for this person. Yeah. Nice. All right. Labor board take Starbucks to court over alleged violations. The NLRB is asking a federal court to order Starbucks to stop interfering with unionization efforts at its U.S. stores. It's the third time the board has filed a case. Stop it. It's the third time the board has filed a case in federal court against Starbucks since December, when a store in Buffalo, New York, became the chain's first location in decades to unionize. Since then, more than 289 stores have petitioned the NLRB to hold union elections, and at least 151 stores have voted to unionize. Nice. Starbucks opposes unionization efforts, saying its stores function better when it works directly with its employees. Yeah, no. No thanks. NLRB's regional director in Buffalo and Buffalo, New York, filed a petition on Tuesday in U.S. courts in Western New York. It asked the court to order Starbucks to reinstate 7 Buffalo employees it said were unlawfully fired for trying to form a union. It also seeks to force Starbucks to bargain with the store whose union election was allegedly tainted by Starbucks' repeated anti-union activity. But more broadly, the petition asked the court to order Starbucks to halt a variety of activities in all of its U.S. stores, including offering benefits to non-union stores, threatening reprisals for employees who support unionization, and refusing to bargain with stores who have voted to unionize and temporarily or permanently closing stores. Yeah. This is why the NLRB needs to have teeth. This is why the NLRB needs to have teeth. They need to have a bit more ability to hold labor, protections. Because, what exactly is the point if, it's so hard to enforce, basic labor laws? Earlier this month, Starbucks announced plans to permanently close a store in Ithaca, New York that had voted to unionize. I mean, it's so blatant. It's so brazen. It's so brazen. It's so brazen. Employees at the store said the company is retaliating for their labor activism. Starbucks, which operates 9,000 stores, said it opens and closes locations regularly and based on its decision on staffing and other problems at the store. The other problem being it voted to unionize. There's no way that coincidentally after it won its election to unionize, they're like, oh, sorry, we got to close it because of check notes. Other reasons, staffing problems. Yeah, sure. Okay. In its petition, the NLRB alleged Starbucks committed numerous violations of U.S. labor law in Buffalo, including surveilling employees about unionization plans by listening into conversations on their headsets. What? Yeah, that's, anybody who tells you that the traditional, business model isn't authoritarian, is not living in the realm of reality. How can anybody listen to this and be like, yeah, you know what? Capitalism is good. Business is just business. They're just doing what they're free to do. Listening into private conversations on headsets. Surveilling employees, interrogating them for wearing union pins. That's not authoritarian at all. A message seeking comment was left with Seattle-based Starbucks Corp on Tuesday. Yeah. I think in this situation, the NLRB definitely needs a way to seriously have the capabilities to enforce labor violations. Because, again, what's the point of having labor regulations or labor laws if it's so hard to enforce them? Lots of Supreme Court decisions. I'm just reading through some of these. The Supreme Court sides with the man on Georgia's death row in a case about what procedural mechanism prisoners must use to challenge the constitutionality of a state's execution method. SCOTUS says prisoners are not limited to federal habeas laws to bring such challenges. So I think that's good. I think that's good, right? You shouldn't be limited in your ability to challenge the constitutionality of a state's execution method, right? Am I understanding this right? Jesus Christ, I hate this like legalese stuff. Do I have this correct? So, the Supreme Court sides with a man on death row in a case about what procedural mechanisms prisoners must use to challenge constitutionality of a state's execution method. SCOTUS says prisoners are not limited to the federal habeas laws to bring such challenges. In other words, the state was arguing that they are limited but the SCOTUS says they're not. So I think that's good. This is basically saying like, hey, some methods are horrible, so yeah, you should be able to challenge the method. In other words, like Base of PJ just said, you get to choose how you die. It's a weird case, but technically a W for bodily autonomy. The prisoner is going to die regardless, which is clown shit. True. But this man now gets to choose how he dies instead of being forced to use lethal injection, which, by the way, is horrible. It's horrifying. It's completely like that. Never mind the argument that the death penalty shouldn't exist. Just take that aside for a second. Like, lethal injection is abhorrent, by the way. And he wants a firing squad. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, lethal injection is horrible. Anyways, like, just putting that aside, the fact that, like, we have a death penalty, at least in this case, or the precedent being established here, or the argument being established here, is that you can challenge a method of this, you can challenge a state's execution method, and you're not limited to do so. Okay, so that's, I guess we can consider that a lowercase w. Oh, Amy Coney Barrett in her dissent was basically like, no, he has to die right now. Give him the needle now. The dude wants to be killed by firing squad, and the rightoids on the card's like, nah, do the needle, because it's worse. The whole lethal injection would probably be worse. So of course they want that. Lethal injection is really there's been some horror stories that I've seen that I could absolutely see that if, I guess, they're that dogmatic against any bodily autonomy, because this could be used to say in other bodily autonomy cases. Oh, actually, you know what? You make a good point, Base of PJ. At the core of it, it's about control. And if you have any bodily autonomy, that's a no-no. That's not good. Jesus, Red Steel. Even in the final, like, hours, you don't get to choose. I mean, it makes sense. You're right, Base of PJ. It makes sense. The reasoning why, like, anybody would say, like, no, you have to do it this way. The state has the authority over your body, up to and including how we're going to execute you. You have no choice. That's a good point. Damn. Lowercase w. And I didn't even go to law school. Neither did I, okay? All of this is so confusing. I have to read it like 5 times to get it. Especially that first one, because that first one at first glance freaked me out. Not gonna lie. Not that it's any good. Not that that it's any good or the implications are good. But it took me a good while to like understand, and thanks to Jamtoom, Floppy Boober, and yourself, I think we put the puzzle together. And I think there was somebody else who seems to be very knowledgeable as well. We kind of put the piece together. So yeah, it took me a minute. This card is whacked out of their minds anyway. It's true. Building closed to the public out of concern and health and safety of public and Supreme Court employees. The Supreme Court building would be closed to the public until further notice. Jesus Christ. Oh, man. Oh, it's happening, folks. Jesus. It's happening. It's happening, folks. It's happening. Courts may announce opinions on homepage beginning at 10 a.m. If more than one opinion will be issued, they will post it approximately 10-minute in approximately 10-minute intervals. The court will not take the bench. Yikes. The court will release an order list at 9:30 a.m. on Monday, June 27. Jesus. Yeah, it's happening, folks. Man, I wanted to huff on some copium. I wanted to huff on some hopium. But given their unprecedented measures, I think this is going to get bad. There goes CCPs. What is that? Could it be the SCOTUS hated more than Congress? At this time, yeah, when you act in this, like, manner, I could see that, Alio. I feel like the next decision will be Roe. I feel like the lowercase w was meant to soften the blow, maybe. But the fact that this was this just announced? Was this like breaking news? This was today. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy. That New York case was concerning the state having concealed carry permits, restrictions, and such. The court went with the gun. So basically, it's free to conceal carry anywhere now. Nice, based, awesome, cool. Was the Roe verdict handed down? No, but today, the entire building is closed to the public out of concern for the health and safety of the public and Supreme Court employees. The building will be closed to the public until further notice. And that was today. Yikes. And that was today before all the decisions are being handed down. So that tells me that we might see a big one. And the big one that kind of is in everybody's mind would be Roe. I don't know, but it's incredibly... that's telegraphing something big. Why else would you need to do that, right? What decision could possibly have such an effect that you would need to close the Supreme Court building to the public until further notice? And that they're going to post their decisions online in 10-minute intervals. I mean, okay. I mean, it might not happen today, but the fact that they're getting ready by saying, as of today, this court is closed to the public, as of today, until further notice, means that shit's coming down soon, folks. If not today. Let me guess, no concealed carry or any guns near SCOTUS, just everywhere plus plebs go. Ha! That's true. Hey, that's interesting. They just handed a decision that said, hey, listen, you don't, like, it's kind of getting sketchy about forcing people to get licenses to carry concealed weapons, like, but also, let's make sure that nobody's in that building where we are. Yeah. Weird. Weird how that works, right? Well, to see a brand new interpretation of states' rights, Miranda rights gutted, and potentially Roe gone in one day, based. We're doing great, folks. Imagine presenting this argument as a God-given American gun right. Rights aren't God-given. Whatever the last day of decisions is before July 4th is when they do it, because then they'll be gone from DC. So you think they'll do it like right then? Because it says that it'll be closed to the public until further notice. So do you think that they'll just hold it off until the end and then they'll just peace out? Yeah, because they don't even have the gall. They don't have the gall to show their face to the public. They're literally shutting their doors and posting their decisions online. We live in a democracy. That's a good meme. Well, Kavanaugh was stalked. Okay. I'm not saying that threats against people are good. But yeah, how does that make it any different from politicians like all around? Like there have been numerous, like it's getting a little bit escalatory. So I don't think that's any special, like I don't think that's anything special. Nothing screams like the celebration of America by ripping into reproductive rights from its citizens. That is the most aggressively American thing that you could do. Freedom or whatever. Hang them all. January 6th committee members target a violent rhetoric on right-wing social media platforms. Calls for violence against members of the January 6th committee are circulating on the same platforms that helped fuel lies about the that led to the insurrection. No way. Users on these platforms are openly calling for the execution of committee members, with Representative Liz Cheney appearing to be a specific target. Calls for former president to be Vice President Mike Pence to be hanged, and that was chanted throughout Washington, D.C. on January 6th, continue to be echoed online. Yeah. It'll be tomorrow because it's Friday, news dump day, and they peace out for the weekend/holiday. Wow. Maybe. Maybe we'll get that decision tomorrow. Who knows? I might have to do an emergency stream if that happens. Jesus Christ. Determining what is just rhetoric and what might be an active threat is a challenge for law enforcement. Yeah, that's stochastic terrorism for you. We're in a highly volatile and complex threat period. That's the TLDR of this entire situation. Justice Sotomayor made crystal clear on Tuesday that she believes the conservatives on the Supreme Court, including three of the President Trump's nominees, are set to move the country sharply to the right by eviscerating or ignoring decades of precedent on issues that most divide the public. Yeah, she's one to talk. She's one to talk. Didn't she just say that, well, you know, Justice Clarence Thomas, you know, we may have disagreements, but, you know, he's honorable. He's been honorable in our institution. He's been such a vital voice. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it, especially after she made that comment. I'm not disagreeing with her assessment, just to be clear. She is correct that they're set to move the country sharply to the right. Like, heavily to the right. Uncomfortably to the right. I'm not disagreeing with that assessment. I'm not disagreeing with her on that. I'm just saying that it's rich coming from her after she was just running, essentially, defense for Clarence Thomas. Senate will take critical vote to advance bipartisan gun bill towards the final passage. Yeah, this is very anemic. I'm not really interested in this. It's gonna not do much, to be honest. It's a slippery slope. First, my reproductive rights, then what? My rights to own property. Having a bank account that does not include things like interracial marriage and gay marriage. That's a very big step in a very scary direction. Yeah, it's an unironic slippery slope because the goal is, of course, control, right? Because if you take away reproductive rights and have the states decide, guess what? They're going to be felons, and felons can't vote. And if you can't vote, like, do you see how this has domino effects? What makes it hard to get credit? It's kind of hard to get a job if you're a felon. How can you possibly own a home when it's so difficult to... Do you see how, like, all this trickles down? It's not a slippery slope, or not a fallacious slippery slope anyways. Because once you're a convicted felon, you not only can you not vote, but it's going to be incredibly hard for you to get a job, so on and so forth. And that trickles down into, like, own your own home. How are you going to do that? Who's going to hire you? What's your credit look like? Anyways, it is getting, unless the state SCOTUS will override the federal SCOTUS. No, Alio. No. This is why we need civics. Once the SCOTUS makes a decision, that is the highest court in the land. It's done. Fuck, I didn't get to go over this. Well, we might need to do an emergency stream, depending on what the decisions are being done by tomorrow. Folks, I do gotta run. Unfortunately, it is time for me to go. First of all, thank you guys so much. Thank you to all the people who have supported this channel. Thank you for all the biddies, Alio and Mayhem Hippie, the gifted sub from Mayhem Hippie, the massive raid from the Benjamin P. Dixon Show. I appreciate all of that support. You guys are what makes this channel grow. The states have power, kind of. That's the problem. That's kind of the problem. Because if the states start saying, okay, abortion is all illegal, it's all considered a felony, so on and so forth. Yeah, that's the problem. Exactly, Alio. Thank you. Hopefully I won't see you guys tomorrow. Thanks everyone, and Carlos, thank you. The states have power too. Yeah, that's the problem. Folks, give me 1 second. Alright, folks. But we are infallible only because we are final is the quote. Yeah. I sent you a DM out. Check it out. Folks, don't forget to follow. Don't forget to join the Discord. Don't forget to do the YouTubes, all that awesome stuff. Please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya. Are you on tomorrow? We'll see. We'll see if we need to do an emergency stream. Alright, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.